My name is Melva, and at 29 years old, I invited 87 people to my birthday party. Only 5 showed up to celebrate my sister's I love you anniversary. My mom smiled and said, "Well, someone should enjoy the space." I didn't yell. I did this instead. 3 days later, my sister's boyfriend was dating me. If you have ever felt betrayed by the people who should have been your biggest supporters, let me know where you are watching from. I stood by the balloon arch. I never asked for checking the time again. 6:47 p.m., still just the 5 of them. 6 if you count the DJ. Who was messing with a speaker wire? Like it had personally offended him. My mom waved from the buffet table and gave me a thumbs up, mouthing, "Looks great." My dad sat stiffly at a round table near the back, already working through a small plate of finger food, like it was a dentist waiting room. My younger sister scrolled on her phone, and my younger sister, Emma, was talking into her AirPods, pacing near the bar, like this wasn't supposed to be a party. My party, I'd invited 87 people, made a list, sent out proper invites, booked a venue with my own money, paid for catering a DJ, a backdrop with fairy lights and mood lighting. Whatever that meant, my mom and Emma had offered to help with the organizing. I should have known better, but I wanted it to work. This was the first time I'd ever thrown something for myself, not just come by the pub or pizza at my place. A real event, I thought, if I made it. Big made it official. Maybe people would actually show up. Maybe I'd stop feeling like I was orbiting. Other people's lives, maybe they'd look at me and see more than just background. Maybe everyone's just late, I muttered to no one, pretending to check the time again. My mom walked over with a tight smile and 2 cups of soda. "I told you 5:30 was too early to start setting up," she said, handing me one. "No one wants to be the first to arrive. It's almost 7, she laughed too quickly. Fashionably late is still a thing. She looked around. "It's a lovely space, though. Isn't it very flexible? Could be used for anything, really." "Sure," I said. "Like a birthday party." She didn't respond, just patted my arm and floated back toward Emma. At 7:05, I finally gave in and checked my phone. Still no new messages, no missed calls. I pulled up the guest list. 87 names. Some were long shots. I knew that, but most weren't. Most were people I'd helped move, fix things for shown up for. Some had said they were excited. "Can't wait," one had replied. "Thanks for inviting me," another said. I texted 2 people, Dan from work and Lydia, a friend of a friend I'd helped move last summer. Me. "Hey, just checking if you're still coming." "No worries if not," Dan replied. 10 minutes later. "Hey, thought it was more of a family thing." "Now your mom said it was small and private." "Hope it's a good one, though." Lydia never replied. Emma laughed at something behind me, and I turned. She was showing something on her phone to my sister. Both of them grinning, I caught a glimpse of a photo. Martin, her boyfriend, holding a tiny cake with a glittery 1 candle on it. The caption said, "1 year since we said I love you." I stared at it for a beat too long. No way. I looked over at my dad. He was now drinking a glass of wine and picking at the cheese tray, like he was doing inventory. "Cheer up, daughter," he said without looking up. "Not everyone's the social type." I poured myself some of the watery punch and nodded. "Sure you're more of the solid, dependable kind, the quiet ones. Nothing wrong with that, right?" The dependable ghost, the invisible planner. "People have lives," my mom said behind me. I hadn't heard her walk up. "Not everyone can drop everything for a party. I gave them a month's notice still," she said, shrugging. "Maybe it's just not your season. Everyone goes through that." She took a sip of her drink and added, "You know, some people aren't really magnetic, and that's okay." I said nothing. She smiled gently, like she thought she was helping. At 7:30, she brought out a cake. Not the one I ordered. I didn't look closely at first. I was still checking the door, still hoping no one else came at 7:42. I finally walked past the dessert table to grab a napkin. That's when I saw the lettering done in gold icing. "Love always wins, Emma and Martin." I stared at it for a full 10 seconds. My brain, refusing to compute what my eyes already understood. No one had told me, no one had asked. They just used it. I turned and looked around. My party had been hijacked, and I'd helped fund the invasion. I must have stood there longer than I realized, because my mom wandered over, holding a half-full cup of punch. She glanced at the cake, then at me, and said brightly, Well, someone should enjoy the space, like it wasn't the most casually cruel thing she could have picked to say. Then she walked off humming. I slowly walked to the farthest table, pulled out a chair, and sat down. The DJ was still playing to an empty room. At least he showed up at 8:01. Martin arrived, white shirt, a small bouquet. He kissed Emma, like they were at their own engagement party. I didn't say a word, but 2 days later, Emma was single. I sat at the table for another 30 minutes. After Martin arrived, he kissed Emma, handed her the bouquet, took a few photos by the fairy lights I'd paid extra for, and smiled, like this whole thing had been lovingly planned. And I guess it had, just not by me. I didn't say anything I didn't have to. Every second I sat there, breathing in the smell of buffet chicken and watered down punch. I could feel something old cracking open in me, not loudly, not with a bang, just splitting quietly like a seam. Finally giving out after too many years of pressure. And maybe it's weird, but what I kept thinking wasn't about Martin or Emma, or the cake with their names on it. I kept thinking this wasn't even the worst part. Growing up, my younger sister Emma was what you'd call a born closer golden girl. Great at sports, great at charming people, great at getting what she wanted. I was 5 years younger, which doesn't sound like much until you're living it. When she was in high school, I was still being reminded to flush. When she was going to prom, I was just starting middle school and trying to figure out why. My voice sounded like a haunted clarinet. She got attention for existing. I got asked to help carry folding chairs. It wasn't that I was unloved. I just wasn't seen not like her. When I was 16, I had a plan. Nothing wild, just dinner with Martin. He was my best friend. We'd known each other since we were 6, back when he lived 3 blocks over. And we used to race on scooters. That barely rolled straight. He was smart, kind, sarcastic in the best way. I liked him more than I wanted to admit, and I figured why not. I told my family naively over dinner, I think I might ask Martin out. I said somewhere between the potatoes and the overcooked chicken. Emma laughed like I'd said I was running for president. Martin, he's not going to date you, girl. My mom smiled, not kindly. He's very handsome, honey. That was it, no. Go for it, no encouragement. Just quiet disbelief. That a guy like him might say yes to a girl like me. So I didn't ask Martin, and we stayed friends. And when we went to college in different cities, we drifted. I still thought about him sometimes. Wondered if I'd missed my chance, or if I'd ever had one. Fast forward 10 years, I'd finished law school, gotten a steady job at a mid-sized firm, and had more books than friends. It was fine, quiet, safe. Then Martin showed up at my office. He was starting in litigation 2 floors up. We recognized each other instantly, and within a week, we were having lunch in the break room and making fun of Gary in compliance for his devotion to motivational water bottles. He hadn't changed much, still quick, still quietly chaotic, in the way he organized his files, still able to make me feel like I mattered when he looked me in the eye and asked how I was really doing. And for a while, I thought maybe this was my second chance. I told Emma because I'm an idiot. We were at our parents' house. I mentioned it casually. Said I was thinking about asking Martin out. She blinked. Martin from when we were kids. Yeah, he works at my firm now. She nodded slowly. Don't rush it. You only get one shot. If he says no, it'll make work awkward forever. Let me talk to him first, feel it out. I'll get a sense, and I let her. Because that's what I'd been trained to do, defer. Believe she knew better, trust that she had my back. 3 weeks later, they were dating. She never apologized, not even a little. It just happened, she said. Like I should be happy for them. He obviously didn't think of you that way. My mom said, well, they're such a good match. Sometimes things just fall into place right for her. They always did. I pulled back after that, focused on work, canceled more family dinners than I attended. I still answered their calls, though, still helped when they asked. I paid my parents' electric bill 4 times last year, quietly covered a plumbing repair when my dad's card got declined, brought groceries once a month when I visited. No one ever asked if I could afford it. No one ever thanked me either. They just called me so reliable, like that was the whole point of me. The birthday party was supposed to be different. I wanted, stupidly maybe, to feel like I wasn't just orbiting other people's lives. I booked the venue, paid for everything. Sent out invitations to people who'd said over and over, we should catch up or let me know when your birthday is. 87 names, and when the room stood empty, I told myself maybe they were just running late. Maybe it was bad traffic, maybe it was me. But then Dan from work texted back, said my mom had told him it was a small family thing, now that I was overwhelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed, I was erased. When I saw the cake, love always wins. Emma and Martin. It didn't feel like a twist. It felt like confirmation. They used my party, my money, my name, they used me. After Martin arrived, I waited a little longer, pretended to refill my drink, pretended not to notice how he looked around the room with mild confusion, then lit up the second he saw Emma. They kissed in front of the balloon arch I didn't want, took selfies in front of the fairy lights. I'd paid extra for, she twirled for him. He laughed. I sat down at the farthest table away from the noise and stared at the napkins. I'd folded by hand the night before. It's strange. You can love people who hurt you over and over. You can explain it away, smooth it over, tell yourself they don't mean it like that. But then there's a moment, a single second, when the whole picture clicks into focus, and you realize it's not a misunderstanding. It's the design you were never meant to be seen. I didn't leave the party with a dramatic door slam or a mic drop. I left through the side exit behind the buffet table, holding a half-deflated balloon and a bottle of water. I didn't really want there was no storm-out music. No one noticed I was gone. When I got home, I changed out of my dress shirt, poured a glass of tap water, and sat down in the dark. No music, no TV, just the hum of my fridge, and the echo of my own heartbeat. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, still wearing the wristband from the venue, like a joke only I was in on. At some point, I opened my laptop. I drafted the letter slowly. Tight language, neutral tone, clear bullet points. I attached the receipts. Venue deposit catering confirmation. DJ invoiced the PayPal payment for the custom backdrop. That now lived in every photo of Emma and Martin, kissing under fairy lights. The letter went to 3 people, my parents and Emma, since the event was intentionally repurposed, without my knowledge or consent, and my invited guests were actively discouraged or redirected from attending. I am formally requesting reimbursement for the total cost of $3,460. That was the polite version of what I wanted to say, which was, you hijacked my birthday, gaslit me while eating my food, and then kissed under a sign. I paid for it, but I figured if I was going to make a scene, I might as well do it with receipts. The call started 2 hours later. First my mom 5 missed calls in a row, then Emma, then my dad. I didn't answer any of them. I let them scream into voicemail. Around noon, I got a message in the family group chat, a sacred, digital graveyard of half-hearted holiday plans and blurry grandkid photos. My mom wrote, apparently. Melva is demanding money for her own birthday now. Because she didn't like the guest list, Emma replied. Guess it's easier than admitting no one showed up. I stared at the screen for a full minute before typing. You told them not to come. No response, you sent out new instructions. Told people it was a private family thing, or to come later for the I love you party with Martin. Another beat of silence. Then my dad, trying for diplomacy. I understand you're upset, but life doesn't always go the way we plan. No one made people skip your party. So I posted a screenshot, a forwarded message from one of my coworkers, sent 2 days before the party. Hi there, just a heads up. Melva decided to scale down the event to close. Family only. She's been feeling overwhelmed. Hope you understand, signed Mom. That broke the seal, Aunt Julie chimed in. Wait, I got that message too. Then Cousin Steve, we were told to come after 8 for Emma and Martin's celebration. Another message, another screenshot. A photo of the invite they got. Join us for a private toast. 1 year of love. Emma and Martin. I didn't have to explain anymore. They did it for me. Martin found me at work the next day. He stopped by my office, like he had 1,000 times before, but this time he didn't knock first. He just opened the door and stared at me, like I was a puzzle. That suddenly looked different under new light. Why didn't you tell me it was your party? I looked up from my monitor because I didn't know. It wasn't until I got there he blinked. You didn't agree to the toast. The cake, I ordered a different cake. I said mine didn't have your names on it. His face went pale, I thought. I thought you knew. I thought we were celebrating with you. You were, I said. Just not for me. He sat down quiet for a long time. And then I heard myself say it almost accidentally. It's not the first time she's taken something from me. He looked at me like he just stepped through a door he didn't realize was there. What do you mean? So I told him everything. 16. The dinner table. The moment I said I liked him. The moment my mom told me not to get my hopes up. The years of friendship. The second chance I thought I had. The day I told Emma I was going to ask him out. And how she offered to feel it out first. He didn't interrupt, he didn't cry. He just sat there, eyes wide. Fists clenched. Jesus. He whispered, "Yeah." I said, "That's about right." Then he stood up and left. The next day, Emma called. I let it go to voicemail, then she called again and again. On the fifth call, I picked up. "What the hell did you say to him?" She snapped. I said nothing. "He broke up with me. Still nothing. You've been trying to sabotage me for years. Haven't you?" I actually laughed. Then I said, "You did this all by yourself." And I hung up. Then I blocked her number. I went into my online banking app and disconnected the recurring payment. I'd set up for my parents' internet bill, canceled the backup credit card I'd left on file for emergencies, removed myself from the family Netflix plan. Felt weirdly good, that one. I didn't tell them. I figured they'd notice when it started buffering. Martin didn't text that day or the next. I didn't expect him to. What was there to say? But I couldn't stop thinking about the look on his face. In my office, that combination of heartbreak and horror. I'd seen it in the mirror before. The next morning, I got a text from my mom. "We need to talk then another. Don't do anything you can't take back." Too late, I didn't take revenge. I didn't slash tires or post rants on Facebook. I just handed them the truth. Let it speak for itself. Turns out it was loud enough on its own. Martin showed up at my place the next evening. No warning, no text. Just a soft knock on my door. Around 8:30 p.m. I opened it wearing sweatpants, holding a fork halfway through, eating cold lasagna out of the container, like a divorced raccoon. He was standing there with his hair a little messy, hands in the pockets of his hoodie, eyes uncertain. "I'm not here to fight," he said quickly. "I just needed to talk to someone who wasn't her." I stepped aside. He came in. We didn't do the whole awkward silence thing. He sat on the couch. I sat beside him. He looked at the floor like it might explain something. "I broke up with her," he said quietly. "I figured right after we talked." I didn't say anything. I just waited. "I don't think I was in love with her," he continued. "I think I just wanted to believe I could be. That if I tried hard enough, it would feel real." I nodded slowly. He looked over at me. "You should have told me. I didn't think it would matter." I said you seemed happy, and I wasn't going to be the girl who says, "Hey, I liked you first," like it's a raffle ticket. His mouth twitched, almost a smile almost. Then he said, "Do you ever think about what would have happened if you had told me all the time?" We sat in that strange stillness for a moment. Shared history, with a few wrong turns and a lot of silence. Then he said, "I don't want to mess anything up. I'm not saying we jump into anything, but maybe we could get dinner sometime. Just us slowly see where it goes." I smiled. "You're asking me out. I'm asking if you want to try." "Yeah," I said. "I do." Then he kissed me, and we didn't talk for a while. We didn't mean for it to happen that night. But it did. It wasn't dramatic or messy. It was soft, slow, familiar. The kind of quiet that comes from knowing someone. Since scooters and juice boxes, afterward. He wore one of my t-shirts and curled up beside me, like he'd always belonged there. And for once, I didn't feel like I was borrowing, something that wasn't mine. That lasted about 10 minutes. The knock came at 11:42 p.m. I checked the peephole and felt my stomach drop. Emma. I opened the door, because part of me still hadn't learned. She didn't even say hello. "You haven't been answering your phone," she snapped. Then she looked past me and saw Martin wearing my shirt, standing barefoot in my hallway. Her whole face changed, like watching a mask fall off in real time. "Are you kidding me?" she said. Martin didn't move. Emma stepped inside. "You're screwing my boyfriend." "I'm not your boyfriend," Martin said calmly. "You just broke up with me, and now you're here with her." "He's not property," I said. That's when she hit me. It wasn't cinematic. It was fast and clumsy, and it hurt a lot. Caught me right under the eye. I stumbled back into the wall. Martin shouted something. Emma looked like she wanted to hit me again. She didn't, but not because she calmed down. Because Martin stepped between us. You need to leave, he said, voice shaking but clear. Emma pointed at him. You think this is better this? You moved on this fast? Martin said nothing, just crossed his arms. Emma turned back to me. This is what you wanted, right? You've been jealous your whole life. You finally get to steal something of mine. I didn't steal anything, I said, pressing a hand to my cheek. He made his own choice. That's what's messing with you, isn't it? She stared at me for a long moment, then left no goodbye. No slammed door, just gone. Martin helped me get ice from the freezer. He didn't say anything for a while then. That was the first time she ever scared me. She scared me my whole life. I muttered. He smiled. Not because it was funny, because he understood. I don't feel guilty anymore. He said I thought I was betraying her. But that wasn't love. That was ownership. He stayed the night. But not because we didn't know what came next. Because we did. The next day around 3 p.m., both my parents showed up together, like they were tag teaming an intervention. I opened the door slowly. They walked in like they had a right to be there. We need to talk, my mom said. I crossed my arms. You have no idea how much damage you're causing, she continued. Your sister is devastated. She hit me, I said. My dad actually rolled his eyes. She's upset you ambushed her. Martin stepped into view, still wearing the hoodie he'd borrowed from me. My mom's face twisted, so it's true. She said you stole her boyfriend. I didn't steal anything he left. Then he came here you couldn't just let her have. One thing my dad asked that made me laugh. One thing I said you mean like the party I paid for. The guest list, you erased the cake with her name on it. The guy I liked since I was 16. The one I told you about at dinner. And you laughed, my mom flushed. That's ancient history, no. I said it's a pattern. They stared at me like I just confessed to arson. I helped you with bills. I said groceries, repairs. I covered your internet every month. And all I got in return was silence when Emma took what she wanted. My dad's voice dropped. You're blowing this out of proportion. Am I? They didn't answer. So I did it for them. You always picked her. I said every time, even when she was wrong, even when it cost me everything. But I'm not doing it anymore. My mom's eyes filled with tears. Not guilt, not apology, just discomfort. I opened the door. You can leave now. They didn't argue. They just left. Martin didn't say anything until the door clicked shut. Then he walked over, took the ice pack from my hand, and kissed the bruise. You okay? He asked. No, I said, but I'm free. 2 years later, Martin and I are married. It was a small ceremony, just friends, chosen family, and people who knew how to show up without being asked. Twice my parents weren't invited. Neither was Emma. I haven't spoken to any of them since that night, and I don't miss it. I never got my money back for the birthday party. But I got Martin, so I'd say I came out ahead. What do you think? Did I do the right thing by walking away? Or did I go too far? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.